I wanted to go through option 1 again for Zippy MD. I have made a couple of changes based on our conversation, Hassan, and I know you were looking into the way some things were programmed, but I want to just do this flow one more time for you. So obviously at the top you have 3 options. 1, get started on Zippy Forms. 2, log in to Zippy Forms and update my forms. 3, log into Zippy Forms and add another family member. Option 1 is sort of your first interface with Zippy. So you create your account, and then in doing so, I have changed this group of relationships. You and I discussed this, and I think this group of relationships will work best. So I've listed those out. They create their account, and after doing so, they hit a click here to get started. At that point, it takes them into a decision matrix. Is this account for you as a patient? If yes, then the system would go directly to add emergency contact as seen below. If no, then it should ask, is this account for another family member or a person that you are providing care? If that is yes, then it should go to a situation where it allows them to add a family member. And so that decision matrix looks like this. The relationships are slightly different. You have patient mom, patient dad, patient single, spouse, child, son, or daughter. So that's one of those things we probably need to just explore and make sure that those relationships are right. I think they are, but that's been something I've had to think through for our end result. And then this is obviously what looks like to add a family member. And one thing I'm questioning, and Tom and Hassan, you and I need to talk about this, is whether we want a save button at all, because that would just be a standstill button, or if we want to, in Zippy MD, just have save and next, which pushes them to the next piece. In either case, the next piece it pushes them to is to add emergency contact. And Hassan, the question we were asking was if they have added now the person that created the login and they've added a family member, in that case it would ask them to select which member they're putting in an emergency contact for. Again, the question we were asking is, if we hit save and next, do they have to select that family member again, or can it push them forward for that particular family member? This applies to all 3 of the Zippy feeds, and I guess it just depends on how complicated it is to program it that way. So let's assume they select their family member and they add their dental insurance. Save and next. They come to add financial responsibility. This will have a text box from whichever doctor or practice. And of course they'll click yes or no and put the name of the person who's saying yes or no to that, and their relationship again to the patient. That should be congruent with previously picked information above. And then save and next. I've asked the question here, I've provided the categories for this next piece, this add to medical detail. What I think David wanted us to do was to add in all possible fields and then bracket out or comment out the ones we don't need. So I went ahead and put a ticket in to show the additional fields in an Excel spreadsheet. And I would assume we want to add, after we copy version 1 of Zippy to version 1.1, then we want to add in those fields before we do any of the rest of this programming. So I've put that in green. That's a question. And then as the flow goes, add medical detail. Then they come to the save and next, which takes them to adding their primary doctor. Save and next, add their prescriptions. This is a loop because they may need to add more than one prescription. So that would be a loop, save and complete at the end of the loop, and at that point it takes them to a completing information. And in order for them to have sort of HIPAA authorization, we need to have them name 3 people and that person's relationship to them that they are willing to give their information. I don't know that we need a drop down for those boxes. I think we just need a regular type in text box that records that information and the relationships. And then a group of boxes here that we can put text in dependent on the specific doctor needs. So 3 or 4 text boxes that they check yes or no to as okay with them, and then the information that I've provided is accurate and up to date. I don't think we have a way to do a online signature at this point. I think that's still a question out there for David, and if that's an electronic signature is possible and feasible and financially feasible. So we have that as a discussion point. And then lastly, we would hit save and complete for the doctor or the practice. And when they do that, a pop-up box would tell them that their information is completed prior to visiting the office, and we appreciate it and look forward to seeing them. So that's all of option 1. And I just wanted to reiterate a few things because I think as we've talked about this, it maybe has changed slightly.